everybody. Today we have the immense pleasure of hosting the true soccer prodigy, Sebastian Delfi. Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really excited because his journey in the world of football is nothing short of remarkable. When did you start your first playing football?
It's I have to go a while back now. Well, firstly, everything's all thanks to God, gifting me with football. I first started playing football when I was 5. I would watch my father play on Sundays. He had a group of, guys that he'd play with every Sundays. He never missed out. He was a professional footballer himself. So no matter his age, he always used to play. Then one day my dad said, do you want to play football? I said, like, what do you mean play? Like, I'm playing with the kids. He's like, no, you want to play in a team? I said, yeah, I want to play on a team. And then that was the first time I was, 5. It was the first time I played football.
So how did the sports background within your family shape your journey into becoming the soccer sensational you are today?
Yeah, well, as I said, my father was a professional footballer himself. And his sister, so my aunt, she was a professional basketball player. So I think it kind of runs in our blood, the sport. So obviously my father was a huge impact on my life. Without my father, I could never, ever be a professional footballer. So as well as all thanks to God, all thanks is to my father as well. Taking me to training, making sure, I get to my team on time. So, the family background is pretty strong in sports, but, obviously my father can't play for me. What I did on the field, was just really hard work. It was hard work. There was a lot of hard work. But as a kid, my father never pushed me. Like, he wanted me to learn about football. He wanted me to enjoy it. It's all about love, and when you find the love for football, it's like loving, like loving your father, loving, your mother, whatever it is. When you find that love, it's kind of like you don't ever want it to go away. You can't be away from it, and that was something that was building for me as a kid growing up in Sydney.
Wow, this is really amazing. That looks like you've never been pushed to do something you don't like. At the age of 9, you joined Khorfakkan Football Academy, and later moved to Dusan Burak Football Academy. How did these experiences shape your early development, and what lessons did you carry forward from such prestigious football institutions?
So, Khorfakkan attracted all the best players of Sydney, and obviously in our class was like really high level athletes. The training was pretty strict. Obviously, it was like that old school mentality. Really got to push hard, even though you're a kid. Is this really got to? Like, I'm 9 years old, but the coach really, really pushed for, for kids to be sharp with the ball. On turns, skills was a massive thing when you're a kid. Like, skills are the basic fundamentals that you need to learn. The best example I like using is learning a language. When you learn a language when you're younger, it's really easy. When you grow up, you don't have to think about it. But learning a language later on in life, it's a little bit harder. You know what I mean? Like, I speak 4 languages, but 2 of the languages that I learned after it was harder to learn because I was past the age of 16, 17, 18, so. But when you're a baby and you learn the fundamentals of something, it becomes, as we would say in English, second to nature.
Yeah, and that shows how hard work you have done throughout your career by doing football or learning the 4 languages that you just mentioned. Do you have any advice for boys who want to play football and achieve their dreams?
Advice. I would probably say talent without hard work is nothing. This is probably the best advice I could give kids. We can't, a lot of kids, I think, expect to be spoon-fed. They want it really easy, but they have to understand the hard work, the discipline that goes in. Football is not when you grow up, it's a dangerous sport, and the coach is like the lieutenant. and his army is the players. You know what I mean? So this is how it is. And the coach / lieutenant, he wants his best soldiers, his best players on the field, the guys that are ready. And the only way you get there is through hard work, discipline. Your work ethic has to be high. The discipline, you got to be listening to your coach. Your coach is the man with the experience. You got to give respect to your teammates, to your coach, to everyone, the opposition. So these are fundamentals that you need. This would be the best advice for me, giving kids.
Of course, can't agree more. Being offered a scholarship by Bayern Munich, which is a big name, right?
Yeah.
At a young age is a significant achievement. How did this opportunity shape your perception of the professional football world? And what were some of the challenges you faced in the environment?
That was the biggest turning point in my life. That's actually what changed my whole life. I went from zero to hero, really. If you think about it, like, that changed everything for me. And I got it at such a young age. My father believed in me. So my father put me in an academy, the Fujairah Academy. I trained 7 days a week, straight from school, straight to the academy, private session. And then I would train with the academy, the class after. So when I would have to come to the academy, I'd have a private session, one-on-one with the coach, which was an international footballer himself. And then straight into the class with the rest of the kids. It was hard work for like months until my father saw, okay, he's ready. My father could tell. He's the best coach I've ever had. So going back to DVDs, obviously we needed to get footage of this. So filmed it, sent it across to the clubs in Germany, and we got a response. Bayern Munich said come, Hertha Berlin said come, Hamburg said come. You know what I mean? Like this, the way they train, the way everything is, just the facilities, the system, the coaches. The coaches are all ex-players of either Bayern Munich or Germany, or back then before Germany was West Germany. So Bayern Munich was the biggest turning point, and once being, offered, to stay, and, this was the biggest turning point. And back then, that's what really changed my life, really, to be honest. And then Hertha Berlin as well. Bayern Munich was the best, I think, from what I trained and experienced. I think I really enjoyed Bayern Munich, and being able to see all the players back then were Michael Ballack was playing, Oliver Kahn was playing, and they were training only next to me. And my father had a handy cam. I don't know if you remember the Sony handy cam. And he's trying to record me, and then he's looking to his right. Oliver Kahn and all the rest of the guys would be training next to him. Yeah. So the only thing that was separating them was the fence. We're on this side, and the fence would be on that side, and then the media and paparazzi would all be on the side of the cage just taking photos and videos. So that was the biggest thing that really changed my life. I called my grandma. I said, Grandma, when I'm going to become a professional footballer in the future, I'm going to buy you a house. We're going to live together. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. It's just me and you. I'm like, yeah, just me and you, Grandma. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, this is, okay, I can do this. But at the same time, obviously it was good, but it was a lot of pressure on me coming back. That was tremendous.
We were gonna ask you about your return back to Sydney. You began playing Premier League football. What adjustment did you have to make in transitioning back in the Australian football scene?
Back then we had Super League and Premier League, obviously. My team, obviously Sydney has very good athletes, very good footballers. And our team was a very good team. It's a little bit different with coaching, and the system is different. But, when you love football, you just learn to adjust. You know what I mean? It's not really a big thing. So, because in the back of my head, I knew okay, I'm going to get my time.
So there were a big difference between Germany and Australia with the football methods.
Yeah, I felt like the boys at the younger ages were more accomplished. They were doing things that 14, 15-year-olds in Sydney were doing.
Like, did you feel like you're coming back with the higher standards, maybe seeing those big names players and kind of influenced by the environment, and then
Coming back was really
was that could be a breaking point to you?
yeah, like coming back was more like I had a lot of pressure because everyone knew about me. Every single person. I was on newspapers, Channel 7, Disney Channel, Channel 9, like, and these are big channels back then. Like, we didn't have, this was before Facebook, before Instagram, before Twitter, before social media existed. If you were on newspapers and TV, everyone knew about you. Schools, teachers, everyone. You know, this was the big thing. This is what people turn to look at what's happening with today's society. You look at the news or you go onto TV. You know what I mean? And so that was the biggest thing. I got a lot of pressure when, you know, good comes bad, you know, bad meaning, you know, obviously in school, you know, you get bullied. This was a thing, you know, like, oh, you're that kid, you know, I'm trying to get to my class and, you know, you get bullied from, and I can't, you know, say this to anyone, you know, couldn't say it to my father. You know, I didn't want to stress my father. One thing with me, I never would want to stress my father because I know he's a hardworking man and I didn't want to, you know, bother him with this stuff. So I just learned how to just, as we would say in Australia, cop it on your chin, which means just like move on. So, but it's just brought a lot of pressure. So it made me always work higher, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'd say from coming back.
Yeah. Before we get started on your incredible football adventures, we want to give particular appreciation to someone, your trainer. Paul has been an essential part of your life for almost 17 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long time.
And has been a special father-son influence.
Yes.
In terms of football, of course.
Yes.
And in your life, tell us more about Paul, and can you share a specific event or piece of advice from Paul that had an important impact on your career?
Paul was the key. It was the key to me moving on to the next level. His master is Bruce Lee's student and Bruce Lee's best friend. So he was the highest student from he did Kung Fu.
Very hard, Khaleej.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and the way he trained people like Carl Lewis, 100 meter, you know, gold medal, Olympic, USA, Team USA. Wow. He trained a lot of like high level athletes, but it was really quiet. You know, he didn't want to attract everyone and, you know, be such a big name. He was very humble and modest. And this is something that I learned about him. My father, you know, we found Paul. Paul just took me from here to here, like in terms of training, in terms of fitness. Paul was training like 3 times a week with Paul. Heavy cardio training. He'll sometimes turn the lights off and make me just go on the bike, pushing my heart, checking my sensors. I've got my heart rate's at 200, 205, something like that. Always high level cardio. And that was from like the age of 14. As I said to you, he comes from a system of Eastern martial arts, being trained by Bruce Lee's best friend / student. He showed me sports philosophy, like Eastern philosophy, way of using mind over matter. This was key to everything. When you feel the pain, like the burn of lactic acid in the legs or whatever it is, you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing on. We couldn't, in his gym, we couldn't say the word can't or I can't do this. So we grew up, I grew up with him, and it was really nice because, you know, he didn't have a son, and he became like this father, and I became like a son that he never had. And we used to do just high level training. Used to kill me. Like, it's just that real old school mentality. You just got to push. Like, I would sometimes taste blood at the back of my throat, but you just keep pushing. That is what got me to the next level, because that was key. If I didn't have that, I would just be a normal average player, I think.
Sebastian, you became a football icon and celebrity even before the social media era. How did constant media attention, including features on Disney Channel and various newspapers, impact your focus and performance on the field?
Always, Yani, I never liked using Yani. People will come and say like, Seb, you're this, star. I never believed in like things like that. I try to, as my trainer Paul would teach me, to be humble and not really, get caught away with Yani being a star or a celebrity. Even though I know him and my father used to always, Yani, they all show me off. Or when I used to be in the newspapers, my father would cut it out and show all his friends. But I just stayed focused. I stayed focused. There was no social media, Facebook or whatever. So, I remember once I typed my name into Google back then, and they already started like a forum about me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they started a forum, random people. I'm just like, oh, wow, it's actually random people talking about me. This is new.
Did they motivate you?
It not that it motivated me. I feel weird. Like I'd never seen like what it looks like from the outside when people talk about me. But alhamdulillah, there wasn't anything bad, but they just want to know this, who's this kid is coming up. And, they saw on TV, either they saw on newspapers or whatnot. But, it didn't really, motivate me. And Paul really balanced me out and made sure my mindset was always like strong.
Well, scouted by Barcelona and Real Madrid, those are big names, right? At 14 is a testament to your skill or your skill set. Can you share your experiences during that period and the decision making process that led you back to Sydney?
So back then, a FIFA agent, saw that, this kid is probably like a next big thing and he's very skillful. That was something that really separated me from the rest, was my skill. My fitness now was on like another level because of Paul. I still remember the first day when it went out everywhere. The newspaper went out, like Real Madrid, Barcelona chase, and I remember I used to walk my sister to school. I used to hold her hand. I used to walk her to school. I saw outside our house was a newspaper and I'm on it. And you got to imagine all the houses would be receiving the same thing in the whole, municipality. So walking my sister to school, it's only 5 minutes from our house. And, the school next door, there's like a girls' school next door. They came up, a couple of students with my newspaper and a texter. They're like, can you please, sign an autograph? My sister to this day still tells this story to all her friends and to my friends. So it was really, I was like, and then I look down at my sister and she looks up at me. Like she's only like 5. I look at her, she looks up at me. I'm like, okay, sure. So this was the first time I ever signed like an autograph. Then I got to school and the word of like this just went throughout everywhere. Teachers, staff, the librarian cut out the article, posted, like she put it up on the wall in the library. My primary school, which my sister attended back then, they did the same thing. They put it in their staff room, and everywhere I went, hey, congratulations on this, well done on this. And it was really, really nice. But at the same time, it brought a lot of pressure at the same time. It's kind of like yin and yang, you know what I mean? Right. So brought a lot of pressure for me to always work hard. But the journey, we went to Serbia when I was 15. So the same agent took us to Serbia, to Red Star Belgrade. So Red Star Belgrade had just come back from a competition after versing Barcelona, their youth. And apparently they beat Barcelona by like 4 or 5 goals. So, and they were just coming back and they're like, okay, we're going to put this kid to the test against this team that just beat Barcelona. Now the pressure is really, really high.
I can imagine.
We've just traveled all this way now, and now it's putting me with the best of the best. And so I trained there. They really liked the way I played. They thought I was very fit, very skillful again, and they wanted me to stay. And my father said that it's best you finish your education, because at this point I'd missed out a lot of school. And my father said, look, if something happens to you in football, you need to turn back to your education. So I said, in my head, I didn't want to. I wanted to stay. But that was I would consider very foolish of me. Now that I think back at it, thank God my dad, sent me back to high school to finish my, at least I have something in case something happens. Right?
Point.
Father said, okay, back to Sydney, finish your high school, and then we're going to go back to Europe, do the same thing again. But this time, that's it. Because a lot of kids back in Sydney were at that age where you could, when you get to year 10, you could, finish off with the schools and then just become like, I don't know, you didn't have to attend school anymore for the next 2 years. But my father wanted me to get, my proper, we called it a HSC, high school certificate and everything. And my school has sent a letter to our house. The principal said, you need to either play football for the school or we're going to expel you from the school. You've missed out on exams and everything. And so it was back to Sydney.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You moved around quite
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
How many languages do you speak now?
English, Arabic, Persian, Serbian, 4.
Your journey took you to Serbia, playing for clubs like those are some difficult names that I have to ask you to help me with. Crvena
Zvezda.
Crvena Zvezda
Right.
And
Vojvodina.
Vojvodina.
Yeah.
The real names. How did the experience in Serbia contribute to your growth as a player, and were there particular challenges you faced?
Yeah, so
Besides those names that you just...
Yeah, so Red Star and Vojvodina, those were the teams that I went to when I was, 15, 16. So becoming a professional football player, I went to FK Proleta Novi Sad. That's where I signed my contract for 2 years. Going there once, learning a little bit about the culture, the football standard was so high, like going to Crvena Zvezda and Vojvodina. And I became friends with the team very quickly, and obviously with the coach, the players, I became, pretty much at home. I didn't really have a hard time. The boys really, had a good tradition, because there was obviously a lot of, players coming back and forth between these teams, these professional teams. So, the second time we went with 10 players from Australia. So this time, this was the real deal. FK Proleta Novi Sad. There was obviously, they already had like 40, 50 players coming to trial already from Division 2, Division 3, whatever it was. And we had the group from 10 footballers from Sydney going there to trial. And out of everyone, they only picked me. I had to say goodbye. All the people I, came with to Serbia, including, everyone, like even my father came, and it was the first time I saw my father cry. I've never ever seen my father. My father's a big man. He's like 120, 130 kilos. And I remember in the airport, it took like 2 or 3 players to take him away from me. He just kept, I couldn't ever, that's something I can't even delete out of my head. How? And all the preparation that we did with Paul, playing Premier League in Sydney, getting ready with my academy, getting ready. And then, Serbia was just it was that key, for me, because they were producing so many footballers around the world. Look at the players now, Rakitic, Modric. Yeah, they're from Croatia. So when it was Yugoslavia once before, these players, you could imagine if they were still kind of that country, having all these players from Bosnia, Montenegro, Croatia, Serbia. Imagine having all these players in one team. That whole Balkan region, they just produce players, football players and athletes. That's what they're most well known for. All these players, Krasic, I actually played with Krasic's brother on my team in FK Proleta Novi Sad. Yeah. And I played with Zigic's brother he was the captain of our team. This place in Serbia, like, they're just producing players. Teams will come for pre-season into Serbia. We used to do friendlies with, international teams at Stara Pazova. Stara Pazova is the headquarters in Serbia, like football HQ, where sometimes you do like friendly exhibitions or, things like that. So, but that was really the key for me after I finished school. So, yeah.
That's, I call it success and a mixture of emotions when you left your teammates and you were the only one who hooked. You were lucky, and also that shows the amount of hard work you've put it into the football and the love of football, right?
Yes.
Despite facing a stress fracture and the subsequent surgery that led to the end of your playing career, sadly, you preserved. How did you navigate the challenges and decided to transition into coaching with the establishment of Al Khaleej Football Academy?
Yeah. So obviously the stress fracture came, and it just kept getting worse. It got pretty bad, like when I was playing for Proleta Novi Sad, and then transferred to Los Angeles. It was getting, like, when I started playing, I could feel it every time I go on top of my toes. It would hurt a lot, and I continued to play. As I said before, that mind over matter thing really kind of pushed me, and it pushed me to getting this kind of stress fracture. It led me to coaching, obviously I had to get an operation on my foot.
Was it your right foot?
Left foot. Stress fracture was in the left foot. Had a crack in the bone called the navicular bone, and I damaged, the everything around it. Apparently, we had Dr. Martin Sullivan, which is one of the number one podiatrist foot surgeons in Australia. He only works on like the professional athletes, mainly professional footballers. And he said, like, you cracked the bone, and you've damaged, like, the tendon, ligament, everything. They had to cut, just like everything. Like, I really burned inside after all those years of training football from a young age, and then going through all that hard work with Paul, like vigorous training, pushing my body to the absolute limit just so I could be a professional football player. Everything just, it just kind of went. I couldn't, like, kick properly with my left anymore. It's so much pain now after the operation. It's been like 7-8 years after the operation. I still got pain, which is why I wear, like, boots like this. It takes the pressure off, my foot. I wish I could be able to play with my boys at Al Khaleej with no pain. The boys, when I coach them, they don't know coach has so much pain when he's trying to run, when he's trying to show an exercise. They look at me like, like it's normal. But, like, if they knew exactly how much pain there was in this foot, it's just, sometimes I need to get an ice spray to numb it. It only does, does me justice for a couple of, like, maybe 1 or 2 hours at max. So, but, football, I had the journey from Serbia to America. From America, went to Iran back to Australia to perform the surgery with Martin Sullivan. Now I'm at the point where I'm doing coaching at Al Khaleej Football Academy. I didn't know if I'll be a coach. I feel like I was too young, but I have so much experience under my belt, and it's nice being able to give to the kids my experience from, all my coaches, all that old mentality, and being able to modernize it, change it, and making it into a learning experience. Education is the best gift we could give. And I'm giving these kids, all my experience from, playing football, Serbia, Australia, wherever I've played around the world, being trained by world-class coaches, whatever it is, put it all together, give it to the kids. So, and yeah, we're 6 months in, and we're doing pretty good as an academy. So all thanks is to God. Nothing is my work. All thanks goes to God.
Al Khaleej Football Academy has now become the largest football academy, providing a home to over 100 children. from Khorfakkan to Kalba. Can you talk about the impact that the academy has had on these young players and the community?
First of all, again, all thanks to God for this big number that you said, over 100 kids now from Khorfakkan to Kalba. It's only been 6 months I've started this academy. There's academies in Dubai that have been here for years. Having 100 kids now training, doing, the way you're, that modernized training that, I've learned is just such a, sometimes like I want to get emotional. Like it's just amazing. And I see kids come up to me, coach, look at this. Like, obviously we'd do skills on a Monday in Khorfakkan and we'd do skills on Tuesday in Kalba. And, kids will come up to me, coach, is this how you do it? And then like, oh, that's pretty good. Then I show them something. I'm like, oh, wow, is that how you do it? Shabab, we gotta train. We can't. This doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
But if you listen to coach, I teach him that kind of, that strong discipline, not that old mentality that I've had. My coach Paul said, look, if you're gonna train people, if you're gonna train individuals, kids, or whatever, the way you got trained, forget it, because you were going on to something, whether it was whatever Barcelona realm. Whatever it was,
Level.
that's a different level, okay? These kids is different from what you were doing, right? So that always stayed in the back of my head. I'm like, maybe I hope I'm not going too hard, but the kids know, they're smart. The boys know, they're smart boys. They understand, they know coach, they trust coach. My boys, one time I said, do you want to wait for coach? It's like, coach, we wait for you. They come up to me all the time. It's really, really nice. But now we're attracting boys from Abu Dhabi, Jeddah, Fujairah, international. Like we got boys coming now from like Dutch backgrounds, Slovenian backgrounds, other nationalities, because predominantly Khorfakkan and Kalba is predominantly local backgrounds. But now obviously these boys are now coming, there's more boys coming now, and I think it's really good because it puts Khorfakkan on the map for football, and Kalba puts them on the map for football. So, and that's really, really nice. And I really hope that it just continues to grow and we attract, more students and just be able to give kids, that next thing, that I want to get these kids to the next level. That's my main, that's what I want. I want these boys to be happy, but I know I can get these boys to the next level because I've seen the passion of the boys in Khorfakkan, in Kalba. They have the passion. Now they have my guidance. I have the parents messaging me, sending videos of the kids constantly playing football in the house. And it's all because of the academy, So they're trying the new skills they learn in the academy. They want to do it at home, or they want to do it outside with their friends. They want to do it in their school, or they go back to their nadi, they go back to the club, and they want to do it there. So it's really nice. I really enjoy this. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it shows the impact that you've put, and everything happened for a reason.
A reason, I guess, yeah.
So,
God's way.
One other things, what inspired you to build a venue that is so unique for aspiring young football players, and the treat impact that you have had since the opening?
Yeah. So once, like they said, why Khorfakkan? I went to Khorfakkan one day. I went to the Corniche and I saw kids are just playing football with no shoes. I'm like, well, this is interesting. So many kids are playing, like so many. And it was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. They're playing pretty late as well. And so, yeah, they're playing pretty late and there's so many kids and it was in summer. The humidity in Khorfakkan is so high in summer. It's so humid, but these kids are still playing. I'm like, well, you know what? I think this place needs a football school. So that's when the idea for football school came about. And I'm like, you know what? I think I can do this here. If God gives me the power, God gives me the knowledge, the strength, I can do the rest. Let me just try it. So we tried it and, started with boys from under 19, Khorfakkan. They're playing, Khorfakkan plays in the top league. So I had probably 7 to 8 boys from the under 19s and under 16s coming through wanting to just do pre-season training. So I did pre-season training with them and they're like, coach, we want you to coach us. I'm like, all right, you want to do pre-season? So I gave them that kind of pre-season that we would do in Serbia every time we'd, go back to our pre-season in Serbia. We'd train twice a day, one in the morning, one in the nighttime. Same thing I did in Khorfakkan, one in the morning, one in the nighttime. So started from that and just kept growing. Kids started coming around and, it just, the word kind of spread. And, boys, they were like, word just, because Khorfakkan it's a small town. So word goes around quickly. And, all thanks to God, the word went around and kids were able to, spread the word, and they came and they enjoyed the training. And then, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. It essentially started when you wanted to help the kids, and then it turned to be a good thing, right? So Al Khaleej Football Academy competes in the youth football league. How do you see it evolving in the coming future?
Well, in terms of milestones, now we're the biggest academy in Khorfakkan and one of the biggest academies on the East Coast. We made history in Khorfakkan by competing in the Youth Football League. So all thanks, to the Youth Football League, to Anthony and Andy, being able to, for our team to participate. And, we travel 1 hour and a half from Khorfakkan to Seven Stadium every Sunday, take the boys. And I said to the boys, for me, I don't care if we win. I don't care if we draw. I don't care if we lose. All I want is for you boys to be happy and have the experience. It's very new. And my team is a combination of players that either didn't get the chance or were just really looking for a place. My academy is like a home. It's a football home. It's where you can turn to when you finish school. Then you have this home to, come to after school. This is the happy place where you come and you see new friends, you make new friends, you learn new things, European-inspired football, so... And, it was all thanks to God. We've had great results. We've had some wins, had some draws, had some losses. It's all new for the boys, where, we're the second team. Khorfakkan has its own team and we have our team now. So now there's two main teams in Khorfakkan that travel interstate to play against other teams. So, yeah, it's all a blessing, to be honest. It's all a blessing.
Yeah. Well, 6 months back and now it's a big move.
Yeah, we're one of the biggest. So it's, I just really hope, I can give more to the kids. Really what I want to do is just give as much as I can to the kids. Give as much education I can to the kids. Give them the opportunity they deserve. The same thing, what I received when I was growing up, becoming a footballer. I know the way to become a professional footballer. It's hard work, it's discipline. And that's something that I teach the boys. Talent is nothing without hard work. And I've said this many times to the boys. And to the boys, I'm just so serious when it comes to, when you're here to play football, outside the football pitch, you got your friends, it's all cool and everything. When you're here to train with me, I want you boys to learn and understand, because you're absorbing not just my knowledge, but the knowledge of my coaches. You're getting it as well. It's coming through me, through your training. This is different. The discipline is something that's so important. It's what all coaches in the world would accept, can work with you. No coach would want to work with a player. It doesn't matter how good you are, but if you have no good attitude, no good discipline, can't work with you. So, and all my training, all of my teachings, whether it was philosophy, my hard work from the coaches, whatever, I bring it all together and give it all to these kids. And it's all about expressing yourself through football. Knowledge is the big power here. You got to know yourself. It's like one of Bruce Lee's, old sayings where he used to say, to express yourself completely, not lying to oneself, but to express yourself is one of the hardest things to do. And that's something that I'm getting them to do with football, right? And I can't teach them to, Paul said, not to train them the way I train, but if I can get the message across to the boys and they're enjoying it, they're loving it, and it's the kids pushing the parents to come to football, not the other way around. It's not the parents sending the kids. It's the kids pushing the parents. Their mama, Baba, I want to come to train at Al Khaleej Football Academy. That's the main thing. And I can tell you 99% is that at the moment. The kids are constantly pushing, and I get tremendous amount of feedback. All thanks to God. Like, it's just amazing to see. And I really like the kids being able to showcase their skills. That's what I want. So the academy is here, to provide training for the players, and they can go back to the clubs. An academy is different from a club. When you get to a club, it's too late. By too late, I mean when you're at an older age, the coach just wants his best players on the field. Okay, if you're kind of mediocre, you're kind of average or whatever, okay, sit on the bench, sub you on. But if you're at an older age, maybe you might not get subbed on. Maybe you might keep this team. You know what I mean? So, like I teach to the boys, you really got to focus, the discipline and everything. If you build it from now, you want to be a player that's different. And this is kind of, I guess, what separated me from a lot of the boys when I went to Europe, when I went, where there was Premier League. This is the thing, because there's so many normal players, from La Soria from FK Prolet Novi Sad, so many normal players in Serbia. Why does the coach need me from Australia to come to his team? I've got to show something different, something that's unique. So same thing to the boys. I tell them, you have to be unique. Through the training I give you boys, you'll learn to be unique. You know what I mean? So yeah, so Al Khaleej is on the grow, which is good. And inshallah, it just continues to grow. And we get more boys coming down. So it's a blessing, really. It truly is.
Inshallah. We wish you keep moving and growing as well. Just moving on with some random questions.
Yeah. I love random.
Yeah. So, Messi or Ronaldo?
A good question. Now, I think Messi's a better player, but I like Ronaldo's story better because the talent without hard work, he really worked hard. And a lot of his training reminds me of me kind of pushing through, hustling, grinding, just trying to be the best, wanting to be a great football player. So I like Ronaldo's story, but Messi's a better player. So I hope that kind of answers it.
Yeah, it answered in a way. Best bowler you have seen?
Best bowler?
Yeah.
A bowler like football or basketball?
Player.
Football
player, yeah.
Diego Maradona.
Diego Maradona.
I was obsessed with him. That was obviously a lot of my thanks, obviously, I was just obsessed with watching Diego Maradona. My father got me these DVDs of Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Baggio, Maradona, and Pele. He left it in front of me, and I watched each of them. The only one I liked was Diego Maradona. He just did things that was 50 years ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Before school, I put Diego Maradona. Come back from school, put the DVD again, Diego Maradona. Before training, before going to sleep, I would fall asleep watching this DVD. This one DVD of Diego Maradona. I had pictures of Diego Maradona everywhere in my wall. I went to the library. I printed about 20 photos on A4 piece of paper. Diego Maradona. It looked like my room looked like a place of worship for Diego Maradona. I was that mad. My dad thought there was something wrong with me, literally. And he goes, "Why didn't you pick Messi? He's this age." I'm like, "Dad, I just like Diego Maradona, and you just got to accept it. I don't care."
Yeah. So, best striker in Europe right now?
Right now? That's a good question. I like Haaland.
Yeah, obviously Haaland. Do you like his physique, his talent, his method?
He's just everything. He's God he's just he's big, he's tall, he's a perfect striker. His finishing is on point. He's everything you want in a striker.
Yes.
Everything. He's everything you want in a striker. So lucky Man City.
Yeah. Champions League winner for 2024.
Champions League.
Any expectations?
2024. I mean, I've always been a diehard Barcelona fan.
Okay.
So
you go for Barcelona?
I go for Barcelona, but Champions League,
You win, all right.
I don't know, Champions League, I don't know. It's up in the ethos for whoever. Obviously I know, it's not our time now, but I can't say another team because I'm so loyal to Barcelona.
Okay.
I don't care if we're not in it or we're in it.
I see.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm just that diehard Barcelona fan. So
okay.
Yeah.
So Pep Guardiola or Jose Mourinho? You just give me a name.
Mourinho.
Oh,
Yeah.
although you are a Barcelona fan.
Yeah, I like Guardiola, but I feel like Mourinho is just a genius. He stopped us. Park the bus thing. The Barcelona, Chelsea, when we played, we had all the possession and they just put one ball through to Fernando Torres, 1-on-1, and that was it.
That was it. And bear in mind, Barcelona was the dream team.
Yeah. So he's just a genius. And when he was at Real Madrid, he was a genius as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Best European team right now?
Best European team right now? My answer's going to be Barcelona.
Again, just Barcelona.
I don't know. For me, I'm just too loyal to them. I can't ever see myself going. My father, example, is a diehard Liverpool fan. Like, he worships Liverpool. Like, since the 70s, he's been going to Anfield. He's gone to Anfield. Wow. For my father, for whether it's Father's Day, whether it's his birthday, or whatever day it is, I bought my dad, like, a Liverpool hat with his name on it. Bought my dad a Liverpool poster of the team that beat AC Milan in the Champions League. I bought him a Steven Gerrard jersey. I bought him, like, everything Liverpool you can think of, I bought it for my dad. So if it was him sitting here and you asked him, he would give you Liverpool everything. Wow. So, but for me, like, I'm Barcelona everything. So this is just the way it is. I can't do anything about it.
I'm a Liverpool
fan. We've got issues now.
We'll see that.
No, it's all good. It's all fun and jest.
So, Sebastian, exploring your amazing adventure was amazing. Before we wrap up, any advice for young aspiring footballers, or something you wish you knew when you were starting your career?
Oh man, that's such a good question. There's a lot of things I wish I knew before, and it's like I tell the boys at Khaleej, I say to the boys, the things I say to you, I really wish someone told me these things growing up. Maybe it would have avoided my stress fracture injury from happening. Maybe I would have played maybe at a high level. You know what I mean? So even though, like, FK Proletar Novi Sad was Prva Liga, so his first league, and going to LA and all these teams, by me, it was all good, but maybe I could have been something else different. So my message for the boys, as I said before at the start, I said talent without hard work is nothing, but it's very important that you understand in football you get one chance. Every boy growing up wants to be a football player. Every boy growing up, I asked the boys, I said, put your hands up if you want to be a football player. They all put their hands up. When you're at the age of 21 or 20, that's like you've worked all this time. A lot of boys don't end up going to the first team. They can't make that transition from either the under 18, 19 or under 20, 21s to the first team, because they're that, as I said, that average player. You need something different. So I say to the boys is that if you want to impress your coach, do the simple things right. Coaches don't want to see fancy things. They want to see simple things done right. You know what I mean? So when you do simple things right, it's the reason why Messi is Messi, Ronaldo is Ronaldo, Steven Gerrard, Mohamed Salah, like all these boys, all these guys, these legends of football. The reason why the coaches you can always depend on, because they always do the simple things right, and you can always depend on them. You know what I mean? Cristiano Ronaldo always does the simple things right. You can depend on him. So boys get carried away sometimes when you watch football. They want to try and imitate or mimic a famous footballer, try it, and they lose the ball. The coach looks at them, not out. You know what I mean? So if you can always do the simple things right, all coaches would want you. Do the simple things the right way. Simplicity is the key. So that's where I'm going to probably end up. Simplicity
is a key.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you
for sharing your story and insights with our listeners. I really enjoyed talking to you, hearing your stories, and hearing about Al Khaleej Academy. And I believe it's it's a big initiative, and we wish you all the luck and
Thank you.
support.
Thank you so much. Thank you.